Alright guys, in the last video I made an introduction to this machine. So you saw my ugly looking 3D printer, but that works perfectly, right? I printed these things, these cubes and all of that. So don't mind how ugly it looks. It's still just as much a 3D printer as an Ender 3. And we'll get to that in a minute. In this video, I want to explain the basics of a 3D printer so that you can look at it. One good thing about this kind of setup is that it removes any mystery from what really works, right? By the time the printer comes packaged and tidy, you really begin to lose track of what really works and what doesn't work. So in this video, I'm going to show you what works, what you should look out for if you're trying to build your own 3D printer. And if you own a 3D printer and you don't know how it works, by the time we're done with this particular video, you will understand what a 3D printer is and what works. All right, so what is a 3D printer? Well, a 3D printer is a machine that prints in 3D. What is D? Well, D is dimensions, right? Or the other way to look at that is a printer that prints on 3 axes, right? So what is an axis? Well, let's come to this paper right here. Just by looking at this paper right now, what you mostly notice is that there's an edge of this paper and then there's this other edge of this paper. And essentially what makes up this paper is this edge, and then an identical edge on this side and an identical edge on this side. In mathematics, we call this particular edge the y-axis edge, and then we call this particular edge the x-axis edge, right? So essentially, just by looking at this thing flat on the floor like this paper, it is a two-dimensional object. Of course, we can argue that it has a thickness, it has depth and all of that, yeah, but the easiest way to understand 3 dimensions is to start from 2 dimensions. And what's a 2 dimension? A 2 dimension is an LED object that has a y-axis component and an x-axis component. So your home printers, your desktop printers, your large format printers, all of them fall within this reference frame of a 2-dimensional object, right? Now, a 2-dimensional printer prints 2-dimensional objects like your banners, your stickers. Let me show you an example of a 2-dimensional print on a large format machine inside the shop. So come with me. So this right here, as colorful as it looks, it's a 2-dimensional print, right? You are basically printing on the y-axis component and then you're printing on the x-axis component, right? So this is a 2-dimensional. Yes, I know it looks glossy, there's some depth of field and all of that, but actually it's a 2-dimensional print. It's only x and y-axis. Let me show you another printer. This is a cutting plotter. This plotter runs an x dimension and then also has a y dimension. So this and the large format machine at the back are both 2-dimensional printers. So they print on the x, on the y, and then they print on the x-axis. However, a 3-dimensional printer has another component, and that's what I'm going to show you on the 3D printer. So let's go to that printer. Now, the central difference between a 3D printer and a 2-dimensional printer is that a 3-dimensional printer has a 3rd axis component, and that is the up and down axis component, and that axis component we call the z-axis, right? So it deals with the lifting of any object from the bottom to the top, right? So let me show you a couple objects that are 3-dimensional objects. So this is a 3-dimensional object. It has a x-axis, a y-axis, but it also has a z-axis component. So which means it has a y, it has an x, but it also has a z-axis component. So the z-axis component is the bottom all the way to the top of this particular object. So also is this benchy, right? The benchy has a y-axis component, an x-axis component, and it also has a z-axis component. Now, 3D printers are printers that can print X, Y, and Z at the same time using predefined controls on the system. So before we get to the computer at all, a 3D printer will always look like this. It would have a y-axis component, an x-axis component, and then a z-axis component. I don't know if you can see that thing move up. right? So it will be able to move front and back. It will be able to move left and right, and it will also be able to move up and down. Now, all of these motion controls have to be planned before we get to the software. Do you understand? When you are trying to build a 3D printer, or if you own a 3D printer on your table as you watch this video, you have to look out for the Y-axis component of your printer. You have to look for the X-axis components of your printer, and you also have to look for the Z-axis component of your printer. So Z is up and down, Y is front and back, X is left and right. And basically this is how it works on almost every printer. So first we have established that a three-dimensional printer has to account for three important axes: the X-axis, the Y-axis, and then the Z-axis components. So that's very important. So that's the first thing you have to know about a 3D printer. The second thing you have to know about a 3D printer is that every of those axes will be controlled by motors. So first and foremost, I have to make you know that any object that moves on the planet that is not a human or a creature or an animal or a fish in the sea, if it is mechanical and it is moving, it has a motor that is powering that move. Of course, there's so many other complexities to what I just said, because internal combustion machines like vehicles, like motorbikes and all of that, they actually move, but they don't use a motor. But you see, electric vehicles use motors to move. So motion is mostly created, especially in objects like this, using motors. So putting that side by side with what we just said about three-axis components of our machine, it means therefore that my X-axis will have a motor, my Y-axis will have a motor, and then my Z-axis will have a motor. So that means when you are trying to build a 3D printer, you need at least 3 different motors, otherwise your machine is not going to work. Right? So now let's move up a bit now. The problem with the Z-axis is that it's a little more complex than that, because while we need one motor at least to power the Y-axis, and we need one motor at least to power the X-axis, for the Z-axis, you'll observe that we have 2 motors on this side. So we have one motor on this side, we have another motor on this side. The reason we do that is because of balance. Have you observed that most creatures have 2 legs? If I only had 1 leg, I would be tilting towards one side more than I would to the other. So also, it doesn't mean this machine is not going to work. But the problem is that by the time you start printing, your object is going to sag in the direction where you don't have a balance. So if you look at this particular 3D object now, you see that this object is sagging on this side, while on this side it's higher. The difference between that is because my Z-axis was not balanced while I was printing. And so because my hotend was trying to move across this plane, when it gets this place it prints higher, when it gets this place it prints lower. That's why you have every of these defects that you find on this particular card, even though overall I think it's still a flawless print. But if you want to break this printing down, it's still not the best print, right? So keep that in mind. We're not going to print quality just yet. We're just looking at the basics of a 3D printer. Now, by the time you are done with understanding that, you then come to, okay, why do we have a gantry, right? So you see all these frames that you see here, right? They all serve one singular purpose: to aid your motion system. So I am trying to move on the X-axis, that's why this frame is there. I am trying to move on the Z-axis on both sides, that's why these 2 frames are there. I am trying to move on the Y-axis, that's why this base frame is there. So that this base frame serves like a foundation upon which these 2 frames are hung so that the X-axis can stay. So the X-axis always moves from left to right, like I said. The Y-axis always moves from front to back, and the Z-axis always moves up and down. So we need frames to ensure that those motions will happen. It's just like saying you have to balance before you can dance, right? The objects have to stay attached to a frame Otherwise, they're going to float in space and fall. Do you understand? If these things were not hung to these particular frames, gravity will pull them down, so they are not going to work. So the way we support this machine to print is using these frames. And these frames comes in all shapes and sizes. It can have, it can be a box-like setup where you now have the exact same thing at the bottom, at the top, or it can have the Ender 3 style where you just have two poles, right, rising up. The long and short of what we're trying to achieve is stability for our motion. Do you understand? We're trying to make sure that motion happens, so these frames serve as a support structure for that motion so that it can work effectively. So why do we need these frames? They are basically for support. In fact, they do nothing in your print. The things that control your print are these motors. I will get to that. You see that your 3D printing is essentially these motors. It's nothing else. Your machine does not use this metal to print, right? It only is using these motors to print, right? So keep that in mind, that your 3D printer is not about the frame. It's about the support structure for the motors. The motors are the things that are doing the movement, but these frames are just like structures that help it. And that's why you can use wood. If you look under here now, I had to use wood for the y-axis, and people were wondering, how could you use a wood to build a 3D printer? Well, because what you really want is a support structure for your motors to move. So it doesn't matter what you use. It can be plastic, it can be bone, it can be anything with a rigid structure to keep your motors moving as they do, because these motors do pack some torque, right? If it is not held firmly in place, it's either it will wobble, damage something, or your prints will not look effective, right? So now the last part I'm going to have to cover in this particular series is what really does the printing. Now we have talked about these motors, right? We have talked about this motor, we have talked about this particular motor. See, all of these motors are completely useless to the machine as well. So all of these motors now are also not the ones that are doing the printing. In this entire 3D printer setup now, the real person doing the work is the x-axis. But you see, the x-axis has to work in consonance with the y-axis, otherwise it's not going to work. Let me give you an example. So you are trying to move from here all the way to here. That is an x-axis motion. The problem is that you also have to move along this plane and this plane to be able to work. That is a y-axis motion. So even though we have two x-axis motion, which is this side and this side, we still have a y component, which is this side and this side. Now, in this particular style of 3D printer, the bed moves front and back, while this gantry side is moving left and right. Now, all of the calculations of that produces a square. The x will move. So at the time that the x is moving, the y-axis is not moving. So by the time it gets to this point, only this bed will move. This one will not move from its position, right? And by the time it finishes that, it will now move to the next line. By the time it moves to the next line, now it is this motor that has to move, because the next line means it has to go up a bit so I can print the next line, up a bit so I can print the next line, up a bit so I can print the next line, up a bit so I can print the next line, up a bit so I can print the next line. So essentially that's how 3D printers work. The 3D printers are moving in X, Y, Z up, X, Y, Z up, X, Y, Z up, X, Y, Z up. Basically that's how it works. But you see, there's something that is missing. What is really printing? And that is this hotend, right? So this hotend now is the equivalent of this thing. Let me show you. If you have ever used a glue gun before, this mechanism that is at the mouth of this is the exact same mechanism that is here. Electric current goes into this motor, into this thing, and then this particular edge begins to get hot. And through pulling this backwards, you force this candle to push into the hot cavity and glue begins to come out. So I'm going to plug this guy into the electricity now, and I'll show you what I mean. So you see exactly what this guy really does. So now the glue gun is on and is currently trying to work. So the hotend really is the guy that is doing all of this job. The job of the hotend, right, is to receive filament from here into this particular hole and then through this particular tube all the way into this particular hot end. And as it enters into this cavity, because the tip is extremely hot, the filaments begin to jet out in a straight line. Because it's so hot, it just has to pass out. Right? Now, one last thing that you have to then ask is, well, this is not like it's liquid, so naturally gravity cannot push this liquid out through this hot end, because this is a very solid plastic. How do I get a solid plastic through this cavity unaided? That's why we need the fifth motor that you need in building a 3D machine, and it's that motor for the extruder. So the extruder itself is a motor whose job is to push this plastic through this particular V-groove and this particular grip on top of the motor, and as it's rolling it's pulling this thing inside, and it's coming out like this. And for as long as it is connected to the hot end, it begins to jet out. Unlike your large format machine, for instance, that uses liquid level, do you understand, to push ink, this one uses a motor to push filaments into the hot end, right? And the hotter it gets, the hotter it begins to work, right? So essentially, that is how 3D printers work. This is basically what we're trying to do. We want to create motion system that is aiding this hot end to begin to draw what it likes. So now, in comparison with this analogy I was saying the other time, this is essentially what 3D printers are trying to do. This guy is already very hot. This candle is already connected to this particular chamber that goes all the way into this particular hot end. Now I am squeezing this, which is exactly what this motor is doing. I am squeezing this into this particular tube, and as I squeeze it, liquid begins to come out. And if I keep changing my motion along my plane, this is now X, and then Y, and then X, right? I go back again, X, Y, X, X, Y, X, and I move my hand up a bit, and I go X, Y, X, X, Y, X, and then I go back inside like that, do X, Y, X, Y. I go back, squeeze it again. That's what this guy is doing constantly while you are printing. It's squeezing the filament in through this cavity to come out here. And then I go inside again, I do X, Y, X, X, Y, X, till I am done with the height that I need. And this object that I just created would be called a cube. The only difference is that it's my hand doing the motion, and it is my brain that is doing the particular motion. The only difference is that with 3D printers, while all of this setup is aiding the motion, it is the software on the laptop that controls precise motions that create beautiful objects like this that you see, right? I don't want this video to take so long, right? But this is a necessary step you have to understand to be able to build a 3D printer. In the next video, we're going to build something, right, or whatever. In the next video, I'll show you some more so that you can understand that, look, all of this setup is not a lot to make, right? If you're in a country where you can't get access to aluminum, you can use wood, right? You don't have to use aluminum frame, you can use wood, you can use plastic, you can use bone. There's nothing you can't use. The most important things you need, however, are these motors. And what do these motors do? The X motor controls the X axis, the Y motor controls the Y axis, and then the Z motors controls the up and down axis, and then the extruder motor controls the pushing of the filament in through this cavity to come out here. And as it's coming out here and the machine is moving, the plate is moving, and this guy is going up, what happens from that interaction could be a cube, could be a benchy, could be this ugly looking benchy, or anything you send into it, a gear, a rotor, whatever it is you put into it, it comes out. Why? Because what you send from the computer can come out on the basis of what you want, right? So essentially, that's pretty much what 3D printers do. I hope this has helped you. If it has, I want you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.